Welcome to another edition of Mass Mats and Ma'am. I am your host, the Outlaw LA Red. You can find me on Twitter at JustinHarvey75. You can find the entire show on Twitter at MMMShow75. Joined, as always, by the lack of Casey. No Casey today. It's another No Casey day. Yay.
The peasants rejoice.
Our homeboy, Vinnie Massaro, decided to swing by a little bit, which is a perfect week. We also have Byron, the Fever.
Byron Fever, catch it.
Yeah, nobody wants to catch anything from you.
Catch it.
Nobody wants to catch anything from you.
Is the mic too close to my mouth?
No, I don't know. I'm just leveling it out because Vinny's probably a little quieter than us. How you doing, Vinny? Can you hear us? Did we lose Vinny again? I think Vinny's on his cell, so he may be a little in and out here. But Byron, tell people where they can find you and all that.
All right, so I got social media continuity happening here. So at Byron Fever on Twitter, on Instagram, on Venmo, and I think Snapchat. I don't do Snapchat that much. Instagram's been really doing the filters that Snapchat's been doing, so I kind of don't do Snapchat so much.
Is there really any point to Snapchat? Like, I think I used it once because I don't even know why, but I don't.
We know why. We know why.
Your
the
mom.
Same
I know your mom.
You don't even know my mom. She's a nice lady, and anyways,
I know she is very, very accommodating. I love it when she sends me dick pics.
That's weird. She wouldn't do that. That's really weird that you said that she is doing that.
I'm kidding.
I'm gonna have a talk with her. See what.
It wasn't her penis. It's fine. What's up, Vinny? Can you hear us now? Are you there? Vinny? Oh, we lost Vinny altogether now.
Oh,
which is a shame. I hope we get him back in because this week Vinny was featured heavily on this past week's episode.
Yeah. He was in that incredible battle royal.
I know, and my money was on him. Best bet I ever made.
What did you do with the money that you lost from that?
Well, why would you think I lost? I mean, Vinny was surefire bet.
Yeah, but then I watched the show.
Oh, but see, you're assuming that I bet on him to win.
Yeah. Wait a second. No, I thought that's what you did. I thought you said you did that.
I did. I'm kidding. I wouldn't bet against Vinny. Are you kidding me?
It was. I was very happy to see him in the match. And actually, the battle royal. Some people complained about it, but
about what? How short it was.
Vinny says he'll be back in like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Just how short it was, how it sort of hot-shotted a trios title match, and also in that regard, they could have done that differently and given more airtime to the other two matches. Personally, I thought it was awesome, and
it was a lot longer live too, wasn't it? I felt like it was. Yeah. It was like they built that episode backwards, where they started with the main event and then, timed out the Katrina and Ivelisse thing to fit good, and then whatever was left was what the battle royal got.
Yeah,
but it was still cool though. I like that they do that because they have these battle royals at Ultima Lucha. They make sure that the whole cast is there. It's pretty much the season finale and wrap party too. So it's like, not every storyline is going to necessarily make it in, but we're happy that Vinny did make it in. Hey, Vinny, we were just talking about your unique opportunity battle royal.
Oh, well, thank you. It was.
And, I had my money on you.
You know what? You're an idiot.
That's what Joseph said too. Good Lord, betting on Vinny's not a good bet.
No, I'm not a good bet. I appreciate it. Thank you for putting your money on me, but I was a little outnumbered. There was 2 teams in there. I have no team. I was trying to get like Mascarita with me, and then maybe I don't know, maybe Pimpinella. We could be like the odd man people or the odd couple. I don't know, just something weird. But we had the what's his name, Ricky Mundo, and and PJ Black, and then the Rabbit Tribe. I was just like, and then Joey Ryan and Officer Reyes. I couldn't even be. Honestly, what it was is I couldn't wait to get out because I really don't like cops. So I just needed to leave as soon as possible.
Well, that makes sense.
But I will say, spoiler. I'm gonna give you guys a spoiler because you guys are, the MMM show is always the best. Spoiler: shortly after, PJ, the Darewolf gave me that super kick, he received some broken ankles. I mean, coincidence? I don't think so. I mean, I'm just letting you know.
Well, yeah, he somehow fell out of a plane, I think, multiple times.
You're right. That's what he says. I think it's honestly my chin broke his ankle when he kicked me, but that's besides the point.
I could see, a nice little push or shove out of an airplane being kind of up your alley. I mean, that's strong style, right? A nice shove.
Thank you for literally giving me the worst sell ever. Ha ha! Wow.
Ha ha.
I mean, I've heard you laugh at Casey stuff, so I know you can fake laugh. Come on.
No, look. I miss Casey dearly. Like the shows.
Casey? All right, you miss Casey. All right, here I go. Ready?
Okay, let's hear it.
Hey guys, where's El Dandy?
Okay, that's pretty solid, Casey.
Right. Hey, is that one time like when La Parka was wrestling with the little midgets and stuff?
I like La Parka. He's the chairman at WCW.
That's the
Casey,
actual.
There you go. That's your Casey right there for you. If you miss him.
He's the stuff that I know him to say is not stuff that I would say on the air. But he does.
You've ever held back anything before? Come on, Byron. Let's spill the beans. He's not here.
No.
Casey is definitely a little more R-rated on the show and not the normal NC-17 that he is behind scenes. Casey's a little more raw in real life.
He's definitely more obscenely flirtatious with the other gentlemen in his life. I think that's the way to put it.
When you're cruising, you're cruising.
Yeah.
All right, so this battle royal, Vinny, while you weren't here, we were talking about there were a lot of people complaining about the length and thought you guys should have gotten more time for that match. I felt like it was longer live. I mean, I remember cheering and screaming for you a lot, which means that it had to have been longer when we were actually there, right? I feel like it got shortened down.
I think so too.
Did I lose you, Ben?
I think he's muted.
No. Well, I didn't do it. I think he did it to himself.
I didn't do it.
No, I'm still here. I mean, people were complaining about it, and whatever. It is what it is. I mean, there's I don't know. I thought it was for me, the way I look at it is it's continuity, and it needed to be there for the storyline. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, and as I was saying, I think it gave everybody a chance to be on the show for Ultima Lucha. Like, not everybody has a huge storyline going into Ultima Lucha Trace, and I think they did a good job of making sure that everybody was represented and getting, everybody out there. Plus Chiaki needed to get tongue kissed by Pimpinella. I mean, that just kind of needed to happen, right?
Right. Well, I mean, it has to. I mean, it's not Ultima Lucha unless somebody gets tongue kissed by Pimpinella. It's just the way it is. But I mean, in WrestleMania, there's the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So I mean, it just, I don't know. I think it's I think it served its purpose because it had a storyline, obviously, with the winner going to have a match. I'm guessing next week. The first season of Ultima Lucha, I was in the same thing. There was a battle royal on the Ultima Lucha, and I was in that one too. So you know what? I love Ultima Lucha. It's literally like the best. It's fun. Everybody has a great time, and the match. Everybody just knows it's Ultima Lucha. You can feel it. So everyone goes a little bit extra in their matches. So. That's why usually I go about 20 seconds in the battle royal, but I think I went 33 for it.
You're feeling it. I remember when we were there live, it was more of a surprise, and they kind of let the cat out of the bag for the taping or for the episode. But we popped huge for Pimpy's return because Pimpy hadn't been around, I think, all season 3.
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of a day of returns because it was similar for Evilise too. It was kind of like, a lot of your favorites were back, and it felt like the old Lucha Underground, like the whole family was back and everybody was ready to go. And I mean, I had fun with it. Maybe just seeing it on TV, like having been there, maybe it's a different story, but maybe the TV audience didn't feel it as much. But I think people were still liking the episode, and honestly, people not liking it to a certain extent is a good thing, because that means they wanted to see more of you guys. They wanted to see more of Pimpy and Joey and Vinny and Ricky, and that's a good thing.
What
was the other?
There was also
go ahead.
There's always the dark battle royals, but with this one, with it spanning over several days, what I really liked is that they still did an off-camera battle royal on the next day's taping too, because it just they are a lot of fun. And part of the appeal to this one that was more live than on camera was, they cut a lot of that stuff out. They had to make it like a 4 or 5 minute scene, but they're usually a lot of fun. You get to see everyone that you wanted to see that isn't on like the 2 or 3 big matches per episode. And everything's a little looser, and I remember some stuff from the second one, and I was surprised to see this one on TV, actually, because I thought for sure, I think we were even talking about it, and maybe in a long lost episode that may or may not be found under a pile of
I believe I found it. I have to check it. I haven't listened to it to see what's in there yet, and I kind of don't want to. I kind of want it to be a surprise, but I believe the lost live reactions post Ultima Lucha 3 episode will air in the next few weeks at some point.
Yeah, I'm a little interested on what we said a year.
I can't air it yet because there's still spoilers in it that would ruin the next couple of weeks.
But I think if you listen to it, I think we may have mentioned, I know we talked about, at least at the taping, that we thought even this battle royal wasn't going to be on the show, because they're usually just a fun thing to get the whole crowd warmed up before, like, Phoenix.
Yeah, but see, I argued this with Casey even back then. I believe that it was going to be on because of where the cameras were, and Casey did not believe it.
Casey is a pessimist all the way through. Like, he keeps DMing about how Lucha Underground is canceled, and there's literally been no news. He just keeps coming up with the idea out of nothing. So I think we're better off without him, because we're gonna have a nice, fun, positive time. I
mean, we'll discuss that in a minute too, because there has been a little bit of news, but I don't know how accurate Mr. DM himself, the real DM, Dave Meltzer. I don't know exactly how accurate his information is, but I will clarify that as much as I can without getting myself in trouble.
Should we get to the episode first?
Yeah, we might as well. And I like Dante Oblivion says that no one wants to see more Ricky Reyes. Or are you talking about Ricky Mundos? Which Ricky are you talking about? There's a lot of Rickies in this match. And Paulie was talking about the Masquerita getting a little boo-boo the second day.
It's weird, because didn't he do a big dive onto a motorcycle?
Who, Masquerita?
Yeah. No, he was in the motorcycle. Yeah, he did. And he was fine after that.
Well, he's a resilient little fellow.
Yeah.
In general, I mean, he's taken some seriously crazy bumps. And then, like everyone, whenever they get injured, it's always on like the stupidest thing. It's like they get injured walking down the temple stairs, not when, like, Angelico doesn't get injured when he dives off the top of the office. He gets injured like doing a quick bump out spot through the second rope.
Yeah. RVD doesn't get hurt doing all of his stupid stuff, but when he does a baseball slide, he'll break his leg.
Exactly. I mean, like, the dude has done front flips into the freaking chairs in the audience before, and he's fine, But I guess, a lot of times, I think a lot of times when you're focused on a big spot, you're in a lot better place, and it's a little spot where you're not paying attention, or you're just doing something that wasn't planned, or you weren't thinking about it. That is where you're more prone to injuries. I mean, these guys are professionals, and when they're doing the big spots, they know what the hell is coming. But I can't talk. I hurt myself more walking than I do doing anything.
I hurt myself. I was carrying a backpack over one shoulder, I think, the past week, and now I have a pulled muscle in my lower back on one side.
You're mostly a pussy, so that's not entirely surprising.
First of all, no. Second of all,
I said mostly. I didn't say entirely.
You're older than me, so you get hurt for less. And also, what is it? Paul Cross in the chat room. Yes, we were there. We were losing our shit. I can't believe that you didn't notice that we were there for that particular dark match. You have to be in the live chat to know what we're talking about. Maybe.
Yeah.
And it was, and that's, oh yeah. So how about?
Well, you want to talk about the original? Well, let's talk about the very beginning of the show, the Evil Lease and Jeremiah Crane segment, where Jeremiah Crane didn't think that Evil Lease was the baddest bitch in the building. He just thought she was a bitch. And wow. That was not a smart thing to say.
There's a really good shot of him passed out in the stall. Really good background, foreground.
Passed out is putting it very nicely. I mean, knocked the fuck out is more like it.
Yeah. It was, I mean, it was weird. I was happy live when Evie came back, but it's just kind of weird that they just put that match on the show without explaining anything. Like, Evie got hurt.
What do you mean? They set it up at the beginning of the season. That match was booked, like, was it the first episode of season 3?
Yeah, but there's a big gap. So all of a sudden it's back on, but there's no, I'm back from my broken ankle, and Katrina and her yelling at each other some more. It was just kind of like,
I did think there was going to be a little more backstage vignette action leading up to that. But, and honestly, I'm surprised that there hasn't been more backstage vignettes throughout for her. I figured even with the injury, they could have maybe carried the storyline along without her actually being in the ring. But it was nice to see Evil Lee's back.
Yeah, it was. And I thought she did a great job. And Katrina isn't a wrestler. You know, she's not currently training to be a wrestler. And when you're not in the ring on a regular basis, I mean, she has training, but when you're not in the ring on a regular basis.
She's a genuine athlete too, though. I mean, she was a volleyball player. She spent her time in WWE developmental and doing the Maxine thing over there. It's not like she hasn't wrestled. And many Lucha Underground fans don't even necessarily realize that she was a serious wrestler at one point in time. Though I don't know that was ever her calling. I mean, she seems like she definitely wants to be more of an actress and going that route. Why? What's that look for? No. She's getting some acting roles. It's great, but I don't know. I just follow Lucha Blog, the premier Twitter source for Lucha blogging, and. Okay, and what does our friend the Cubs fan have to say about
there was some sort of interview.
Cubs fan and Lucha Blog, there's two different people. Yeah, everyone knows that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you're totally right. Kayfabe.
But
Lucha Blog. This is Casey coming out.
Yeah, well, and
so
also,
what did Mr. Lucha Blog?
Like some of the Casey stuff that comes out of this as you read into how the wording that people use, and she used a lot of past tense, referring to.
Well, yeah, she's not the only one. A lot of people have been using past tense. Vinny, when you talk about Lucha Underground and your role on Lucha Underground, do you speak in past tense?
Well, English is my second language, so I'm sure I go back and forth when I get interviewed. But I mean, sure, it was 14 months ago. That's the way I look at it. I mean, you know what I mean? It's when people say, "Hey, how was that battle royal?" I'm like, well, I had a lot of fun. Okay, that doesn't mean it was a great match. Oh man, I remember that match. That was awesome. It's not like this. What does that mean? I think people are dissecting it a little bit too much. You know what I mean? Like it's something more than it is. I mean, I have no idea, honestly, why she said it's past tense. I'm not sure. Should we care? Should we even discuss that she talked about it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I don't know.
What you're saying. It's just like some people I think are reading too far into it, and I also think that
no, you're kidding me. In professional wrestling, get out of here.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen ever.
and
Well, I think she always had
aspirations.
Yeah, she always had aspirations to do a lot of stuff anyway, and you know the hiatus has not stopped her from doing that in any fashion. So, you know, if people are reading into it that she's moved on, it's not that she's necessarily even moved on. It's that she's been moving the whole time. She was always trying to do that stuff, and if Lucha's not there,
right,
she's gonna be doing that stuff anyway because she was always trying to do that stuff.
I mean, I just don't understand. Like to me personally, I'm like, I don't understand that. It's not like, I mean, it's not like we have this, you know, it's not like we're on the road, you know, Sundays through Wednesday where, you know, hey, you can't do a movie role. I mean, I mean, you guys are better. You guys know better than me.
Yeah, you'd be taking off 2 weekends a month.
2 weekends a month.
That's really not a hard schedule adjustment, and I'm sure if you could accommodate a lot of schedules, especially in the movie and acting world, you know, around that. 2 weekends a month is not a lot.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think she did a lot of vignettes, and obviously, I don't know. I think I mean, to me, can't do both.
I mean, I think it's awesome that. What's that, Vinny? We were losing you. We lost the last thing you said, Vinny. Well, you can come back in a second. Tell us. I think for her that like she was doing a lot of other stuff, and she was, you know, she had a great part in the show the past couple seasons, and I'm happy that they used her to actually wrestle because she does have some wrestling ability. Sure, it's not something that necessarily needed to be showcased week in and week out. She's not like a top performer in the industry, but it was really cool to see her be able to showcase some of those skills. And I love the fact that they protected her, or I shouldn't even say protected, but used her appropriately, let her brawl, let them work up the crowd a little bit before they got into the ring and hit some of their spots and some mat work. I thought it was a perfect use. And they were stiff as hell. Those chops she was throwing right when they first got outside the ring, I was like, damn, what the hell, girl?
Right in the throat, too.
She had been saving up those chops for a long time, apparently.
Yeah, no, I thought she did great. I thought they both did great. I mean, it did, you know, it was, obviously, it was, like everyone, you know, people were like, oh, I can't believe it was kind of like one of those brawls. I'm like, of course it's a brawl. I mean, you know, look at it as the way, you know, the characters just portrayed it. You know, Evilise just found out her boyfriend is in love with her. Katrina pretty much wants to get rid of her. So it's like, okay, yeah, let's get in the ring, let's circle, let's lock up, let's do this, let's trade a wrist lock. I'm like, of course they're gonna go get in there and just go at it because, you know, they hate each other. It's the way, you know what I mean? I mean, come on, you can't tell me you've never seen two women fight when they hate each other over a man. Come on now.
And honestly, it was way more realistic. It's like, what are they supposed to be doing? Like hitting top rope flips or whatever? Like, you know, Harley hadn't wrestled in years.
So the shirt that got ripped off, that's part of a realistic fight?
Absolutely. Man, you never seen two women fighting in the street? Like I worked this show, Police Women of Dallas, and every now and then.
Come on, Byron. Don't pretend. Don't pretend no two women haven't fought over you. Don't play coy. Come on now.
Yeah.
Usually
I have seen the clothing ripping happen before in real life when some people get at it in the street. That is no joke. Yeah. That was actually the most realistic thing in that match.
And exactly what Dario did, just kind of turn around and just like close the door, is exactly what you should do. Just walk away because you're definitely not going to win in any of that situation. You're like, nope, bye. Have fun. Enjoy, ladies.
Nothing you can do.
What happens, because I've seen it happen. What happens is the cops come in and then the two girls all of a sudden are best friends and they point to the man and the man gets arrested. I've seen it many times.
Oh, that's terrible.
Ooh. Okay.
I hope you've just been a spectator to that. That's all I'm saying.
Allegedly, yes.
Supposedly. Supposedly.
What had happened was.
Wait, Vinny, you said that English is your second language, so you speak Italian fluently? You still
yes,
know
sir.
Italian?
I was born in Sicily. Of course, that's It's my very first
well,
language.
I've never heard you speak Italian before. You got to say something cool in Italian.
All right. Hey, un mio amico Casey, un camorproni è un testi di minchia. Per dire la verità, un mi piace.
Of course, that's what it's. All right, Casey, you're gonna have to translate that for yourself.
I said, my friend Casey is the best, of course.
Yeah,
that's what it sounded like.
You guys don't believe none of that.
No, I'm totally buying it. That's a strong sell. I'm yeah.
Sure, just like when I'm in the ring and I speak Italian, I say all fans, and then they're like, "Yeah, go Vinny." I'm like, "Oh man, all right."
I have to say, one of my favorite things in wrestling is cursing in foreign languages.
I
love it. Tejano and Pentagon, I think.
Yeah, like they start
really
off matches with just things in very not nice things in foreign languages.
Tejano's the best. Tejano will do like jump off the top rope and go chinga tu madre like in the midair. It's like the greatest thing ever.
I remember he was walking down to the ring
for it every time.
We learned how to say, I forgot naturally, but for a while we learned how to split someone in half.
Yeah, except it's not quite what the terminology meant.
Rough translation.
Yeah, very rough.
Very, very rough.
We need Alex right back so we can hear like some German cursing. That's what we need.
Ooh, let's take it easy on the Germans.
Yeah, it's maybe he's not the best guy to bring up right now.
It's some of a lot of people are a fan of a lot of German history these days. makes
Byron,
people
you
like me a little nervous.
You're Mr. Beating around the bush today, aren't you?
Dude, Byron is just on a one-man spree against every Nazi that he can find. It's like the other day I was like, "Hey, Byron, what's going on?" I'm like, and he's like, "Oh, is there Nazis around?" I'm like, "Excuse me, I'm just having a sandwich."
No, Vinny was tweeting with some Nazi who blocked me on Twitter. We were
we don't know. I was talking about wrestling. He's like, "Oh, is that a Nazi?" I'm like, "What? No, there's not. No, I'm sure it's a Nazi." I'm like, "Okay, Byron, I don't know if it's a Nazi. I don't have the catalog of the Nazi people on Twitter."
He blocked me because he was a Nazi and he didn't like.
He blocked you. Well, then obviously he's a Nazi because I'm like, Byron, I don't know if he's a Nazi.
Yeah, but I know he is.
Okay, well then there you go. Can you verify? Can you put the little Nazi symbol on his Twitter handle so to verify he's a
Instead
Nazi?
of a verified check, they just get a little swastika next to their name, so we all
right because it's verified Nazi on Twitter.
Verified Nazi.
Yeah.
Oh, and to clarify for Dante Oblivion, yes, Byron is clearly talking about Scheisse movies.
No,
right.
No.
Yes, like Cartman's mom.
Scheisse?
Yes.
No, I know what that means.
Scheisse!
I very much.
Okay.
I'm just saying that I found out some guy I don't even know had blocked me, and it was because he was a Nazi. He also blocks Justin, so that says something else about him. And he blocks a few other people. This guy, he could maybe use someone to talk to.
Because he was a Dave Meltzer fan. It had nothing to do with Nazism.
Are you saying Dave? Are you lumping Dave Meltzer in this group?
No, not yet.
Okay, we'll see later.
I'm not going to bury Meltzer. I actually like Meltzer a lot. I just happen to think that his information when it comes to Lucha Underground is not as accurate as his information when it comes to other wrestling companies and mixed martial arts. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's true. I don't think.
Well, come on now. We all know Dave's Strong Twins, and it's New Japan and MMA. Don't trust me. If I want to know what happened in Stardom or any kind of female wrestling, I do not go to Dave Meltzer. Right. So it's like if I need to know Lucha, I think Dave knows maybe like a few CMLL stuff, but besides that, like I don't go to I need to know about Lucha. Let me go to Dave Meltzer. That's not what I do. So obviously.
Yeah, but for your Young Bucks news, of course, it's accurate because they probably called and told him himself. But when it comes to Lucha Underground, it is typically, I find that he has little pieces of his stories correct, but then the rest has been like sent through some filter, and it feels like it's very third-hand information.
I think when it comes to the Lucha Underground stuff, he hears like a tidbit, but obviously as a journalist, you can't just write a tidbit. So he makes the conclusion himself and writes that too. But sometimes a lot of times the conclusion is not correct.
Yeah. And that's why I say he'll get little pieces of it, right? And I'll tell you guys shortly, as soon as we're done talking about the episode, what I'm talking about, and make people stick around for a little bit. But you know, he gets little pieces.
We're gonna say it at the last 5 minutes, so you have to listen the whole time.
I'll do it before I talk about UFC. I'll give everyone that. Like, I won't make you wrestling fans stick around for UFC talk.
Thank God.
That Ronda Rousey news that we're going to talk about later is going to be huge.
Please don't. No Ronda Rousey talk.
I heard some Ronda Rousey news the other day.
Yeah, she has
it was all about her honeymoon. I don't think you want to know.
She learned how to back bump? What?
I wish. If she learned how to back bump, Vince McMahon could make some serious money off of her for 2 pay-per-views.
She learned how to back bump. She's training at Santino's right now, so I hope she learned that by now.
Yeah, but she has to actually do it. She's probably just learning how to make her stuff look good and not trying to take bumps from anybody yet. That's
I'm sure. I don't. Who knows?
Santino Brothers is good though. Come on, she's in a good place. She's in a good place. So hopefully they get her in there, because honestly, she could be big money. She could be big money, and she doesn't have to do a whole lot in there to be big money either. You know, you saw. All
right, we're talking about UFC now.
Yeah, you're right.
We're jumping
around. We were kind of talking WWE.
So they did that scene, and Evie kicked Jeremiah Crane in the bathroom stall, and there was a shot of Jeremiah knocked out with Evie's butt in the foreground. It was a really good shot. And then
because Jeremiah was knocked out, right? That's what you're trying to say.
No,
because the butt.
Thing.
Oh,
yeah.
The butt.
And then there was a battle royal where there was a huge upset. Vinny lost, and the Mac won.
Wait, so you're telling me Evie's your thing? I didn't know you had an Evie thing. We should try to get her on the show for you. Maybe we could hook you guys up. She got a boyfriend?
I think so. But also, I don't know if I'm tough enough.
I don't know.
Byron. You might could be good friends with her. Maybe we should get on the show and see see what we can do. You know, you're all TJ Millerish looking and on a podcast, and she's all like wrestling and tough and hot, and you know, maybe there's something there. You don't think so?
Yeah. No, sure, Justin. I think that's probably, we're basing this conversation in reality now. So
wait, so you're saying she's out of your league?
Hold on.
You're admitting Ivelisse is out of your league?
Hold on.
What do you mean, hold on?
I want to correct you, but without sounding vain. So,
is she or is she not out of the league?
Let's put it up to the chat room. The chat room, do you think that Ivelisse is out of Byron Fever's league? Let's look at the votes. Zeus King, it's close, but I don't think so. Dante is very pro me, which is not shocking. Andre, what's up? He's just saying hi. I don't think he gets the poll. That's weird.
Oh, good. Thank you for joining in.
Krabs isn't here. I think he forgot his login. Not even the password, but the actual, he forgot how many Z's are in his name to log in.
Mr. Krabs? Where is Mr. Krabs?
That's fascinating.
I'm gonna go back and see him in Florida, I think, in a month. Anyway, so
look,
you know,
okay, so we're talking about.
You know what? You're right. She's out of your league.
But we should get Evie on the show, because you know, she does have an incredible story from Tough Enough, from breaking her ankles so much, and you know, she had that incredible match with Middle.
I think she's got an incredible story from this year.
Like,
yeah, Evie, please tell us your incredible story on how you broke your ankles a lot.
Yeah, don't.
Well,
that won't be the first question out of the gate.
I mean, all the adversity, like
maybe.
This is why we don't let Byron write the interviews for this show.
Hi, Evie. Can you tell us about the fourth time you broke your ankle, please? Thanks.
She's had a lot of adversity, is what I'm saying. But then also, but it's also like she had that great match with Mill, and it seems, you know, that she kind of like paved the way for the Sexy Star World Lucha Underground Championship, and I think Casey might have some questions.
Ooh, yeah, tell her that.
Yeah, that it could have been her.
That it could have been her. I think we could have some good podcasting about
Okay,
that.
so,
I would have much
so
preferred.
here's how the interview goes.
Sexy Star
We talk to Evie about her broken ankles, and then we say, "Oh yeah,
One
and
at
all
a time.
that awesome stuff that Sexy Star squandered that was designed for you. How do you feel about that?"
Man.
So that's where you want to go with the interview. She's never going to come on the show now, Byron.
Yeah, Evie, great job on the mill match. I mean, obviously everyone knows that because you got hurt, they gave it to Sexy Star instead. How do you feel about that?
Yeah,
that's a great interview. I can't wait for this.
Those are
awesome.
Those are the biting questions that people want to know, and I'm sure she has opinions.
Look, and I'm not even disagreeing with you. I'm sure people do want to know about that, but I think there's probably a little more tactful way to talk about these things without being quiet. So
I think here's the question.
Her many ankle breaks is an awesome way to put it.
How many?
You're several. Can you describe the difference between the second ankle break and the third?
I do have one thing that I was curious about. So she came back and she had awesome red hair. I thought the red hair looked great, but also like she was going to do a major I'm bleeding. You know, she was bleeding out of the head in a really big way, and it was kind of like the opposite Ric Flair effect, where Ric Flair always would bleach his hair so he'd bleed and look crazier, and she seemed to dye her hair to minimize the effect of the blade job or whatever.
So wait, you're burying her?
What?
Wow.
You're burying her with 2 gallons of blood because of her hair color?
I'm just curious. Was she sweating and the hair dye was coming down?
We may never get another guest on this show again.
Oh my God, you're a great interview there.
Well, I did want to talk about the bottle breaks though. Did she go hard way from the bottle breaks, or did she get in the office? I couldn't tell.
I don't know. I honestly thought it was legit.
I mean, those bottle breaks were fucking fierce. There's 3 of them.
Because I mean, honestly, I personally thought it was legit, just because. I mean, we all, you know what I mean? Jesus Christ, how many people are going to bleed that? You know what I mean? But she literally got, I felt like the way when I looked at it in the replay, because when I first saw it, but looked at it on the replay, I was like, holy shit, I thought it was legit just because it was.
I thought so too. And where it was placed too is not it was kind of right in here or something. It looked
right, and plus, like Byron said, I mean, if she would have planned it, she would have she would have had bleach blonde hair like Ric Flair. I mean, obviously.
Yes,
of course.
She's a professional, and then you turn around and agree with me.
Yeah, it's the luchador that wears.
Well, I mean, I say a little bit nicer than you, but
no, it's just.
I didn't call her the opposite of Ric Flair.
Yeah, that's not really a compliment to any wrestler to say, "Oh yeah, you're the opposite of Ric Flair."
No.
You know how Ric Flair is awesome.
You're not.
Yeah, but you're the opposite. You're like the
I heard this.
You know how Ric Flair is like the best. The best ever. Like you're not it. You're like the other way around.
No, I'm just talking about hair color. In that, if you're going to do a massive blade job for an Ultimate Lucha match, you don't dye your hair blood red. That's just a thing.
Yeah,
just a thing.
I agree with Dante that it was a little too low to have been really intentional. And Zeus King, you're a pervert. Zeus King is getting a chubby in the chat room about Katrina licking the blood off of her.
Paul Cross also
I thought
is using words in a way that perhaps is not gentlemanlike.
But yeah, I like them battling up the stairs too. I'm glad neither of them did the famous B getting thrown all the way to the floor spot. That would not have been wise. But the sell of the whole thing worked, and the blood. Oh, a lot of people last week were talking about asking why there was so much blood in the
on the mat.
Yeah. Sorry, Vinny, you were breaking up there for a second. They were asking why there was so much blood in the ring for the Dante Fox kill shot match, but that was the last match filmed the first day. And these 2 matches that you saw on this show happened to have happened before that. So now you know the mysterious reasons why there was 52 gallons of blood in the temple already by the time that Dante Fox.
There's always blood at some time in just random times. I think. I mean, there's blood everywhere in that place.
I love when Phoenix is bleeding, where he basically he'll like be on his stomach or bent over in a way where he'll just bleed into like a pool of blood in his mask, and then he'll kind of lift his face up and it all just pours out and they get close-ups of it. For a guy who wears a mask, he really bleeds a lot.
Well, I mean, you saw how he ripped.
I heard
His
one of my
forehead was covered. That was pretty much it.
yeah.
What was that, Vinny? I'm sorry, I lost you there for a second. You were talking about Phoenix's mask? Oh, Vinny is walking. I can hear him.
Speaking of the all-time greats, one of my favorite Ric Flair stories that I just read online was during his recent health scare when he was coming out of his coma. He didn't know who his own daughter was, but he was doing a Flair strut and telling people about how much he drew all over the South.
He didn't know who his own daughter was until he felt those man hands on his shoulder.
He didn't identify who Charlotte Flair was, but he could tell people how many, championships and how many sellouts he had in Charlotte, and he was doing a Flair strut.
That's kind of awesome. I mean, look, he's one of the greatest. He remembers the important things.
Well, it's like people coddle their children, and they make them like. When you're a kid, everyone tells you how great you are, and you're the center of the world. And it's just nice.
Unless you're Ric Flair's kid, when he tells you how great he is and how he's the center of the world.
And it's nice to see like a kid get cut down for a change, brought down to earth.
You really are turning into a heel, Byron.
I'm just saying, amazing. They have it easy. Why can't one of them just be told? Be like made aware of where they stand in the level of priorities. Like one,
I feel like I'm being swerved, Byron. I always thought you were a babyface, and you're just turning right before my eyes, and I'm in shock. I feel like this is our Enzo and Big Cass moment.
Well, it's
because that's an important swerve.
It's just Ric Flair slept with 10,000 women, and that angle was awful. And everyone, including Enzo, was better once Cass blew his knee out doing a simple walking out of the ring thing. But Ric Flair slept with 10,000 women. Do you think if he made any of his children a priority in his life, he would have time to be a 43-time champion?
That's Wilt Chamberlain that's up with 10,000.
No, he said that too.
Yeah, but Wilt was actually correct. Ric Flair's probably at about 8,500.
If you go in the South and basically if you know someone.
You're saying every blonde child I meet in the South is actually Ric Flair's kid.
No, but I do think that if you go somewhere and you ask everyone in a room, hey, does anyone here know Ric Flair? You're going to find someone who goes, yeah, my sister's friend knows Ric Flair. She dated him for a bit. Like you're going to find someone who knows someone who has had sex with Ric Flair if you're in the South. And you talk to people in that age group, which is
Jagos, however you pronounce it. No, Byron is going full heel. I'm declaring Byron is full heel now.
Mm.
You think you're a tweener, Byron, but you're a fucking heel.
I don't live with labels.
Well, you should. So anyway, I wanted to talk about the finish of the Evie Katrina match before we talk about this Phoenix ordeal, as I like to call it. I liked their big spots, and I don't know what the hell that weird sit out DDT neck breaker thingy that Katrina did was, but it looked fucking good to me.
I don't like
Vinny,
it.
do you know what that move was? You're going full heel.
Oh my god. I love that thing. I don't like it. It's like you're like literally the critic. I hated it.
I hate that move. I've always hated that move.
What move? Where have you ever seen that move?
Where have you seen it before?
I've seen moves that are similar to that, where you do pick someone up and you drop them down, and it's like
it did look very Japanese. It looked like.
But I don't get what happens. And also
Jagos. I'm sorry, I'm correcting myself.
Jagoff is more like it.
Jagoff.
Bubba Ray used to do this move as his his
that's
finish
not the
as a
Bubba Ray move. That's not it. No,
it's kind of like but the way he would do it,
Byron.
It would look like an atomic drop, but a super one.
No, but
that's not the same thing, Byron.
But this one is like, what's happening here? She's just picking her up and like sitting down.
No, because she had her in like a half Nelson when she did it. Like,
no, you got okay, Byron. when Bubba does it, it's basically like up and down. He's got him in a full Nelson, and they're facing the same way, and he goes up and down and like supposed to, supposed to hit him in the lower back or whatever, compress the back. This one, she had
a guillotine, right?
Facing each other. They were facing each other, and she got her in a reverse chicken wing, and the neck is like right on her shoulder.
Yeah, it looked like if they had been larger or more muscular, it would have really, really hurt.
It's basically like what it is. It's she had her like I forgot what's her name, but someone in TNA used to do it. You grab the like almost like a like a bear hug, but you get the arm in and then you straddle the legs, so the chin is doing like a stunner but facing, and then you drop down.
Right. I thought it was dope. I thought it was really creative. I thought it was a well worked spot. It was perfectly timed, and I thought the execution was good because the shit looked like it hurt.
Yeah, the impact is to the chin, not the butt. I know you're going back to Evie's butt, but it's not the impact, it's the chin.
Yeah, and then what was and then Evilise came back and hit what was hers was like a leg step.
She did sort of elevate. She had a cool move where she stepped up. Evie did a step up DDT, so it's kind of like I don't know.
Again, we're acknowledging that Byron really likes Evilise, right?
I wouldn't say it was an elevated DDT, but that's something I haven't heard before. Where she kind of
it was just like creative. A leg sweep DDT. That's all it was.
No. I thought, well, maybe I saw wrong. But didn't she step on the thigh to get up higher and then drop down into a DDT?
Oh yeah, she did. She stepped on her knee or her inside knee
to go up a little bit and then drop down. I thought that was cool and unique. I haven't seen that before.
Byron's in love. That's all.
It's in love. You probably liked all the. Did you like the 2 count pin attempt? Then with the missionary position, was that
okay? Here's the thing about that. Okay, that sort of thing with female wrestlers and their butts hanging out, or those types of pins and this and that, and you go, oh, okay, so it's kind of suggestive. But for every one moment of that, you're looking at like 10 dudes' taints, right? So we see that stuff all the time with the male wrestlers, and if the female wrestlers do it, it's just all the same thing. So, except when Angelico was doing those pins that one time in that match that got retconned, but anyways,
gotcha.
I did enjoy it.
I'm sorry, Byron, but I don't know what wrestling you're looking at, but I'm not looking at 10 dudes' taints when I'm watching wrestling, dude.
Yeah, like even if they're there,
80% of professional wrestling is just looking at that really part of the upper inner thigh of men, where where like. You know what I mean? Like
I think you watch these programs a little different than I do.
I'm gonna put some advertisements then up there if that's all you're looking at. I'm just gonna put some. I'm gonna rent out some like a Sprite thing right there, or like a Coca-Cola right there. Since 80% you're looking up my. I don't.
No, but you don't wear short tights though. But like the ones who wear short tights. You see a lot of.
I'm not your type. I'm sorry.
So I took my crew last time I was working in Boston. I took them to see NXT, and it was a lot of fun. It was great. But I warned them, listen, you're not used to this. You're going to be looking at a lot of male taints. Actually, both genders of wrestling, you're just going to see a lot of taints in general, more than you're used to witnessing. You're going to have to get over that, and you'll be able to enjoy professional wrestling.
But there's a lot of other things to look at other than the taint, Byron.
I know.
See, but Vinny, this is what I deal with. Like, I've had to hear him talk about Cage's package and how Cage's package is always right in his grill. It's like, I never noticed this.
Everyone.
I never have noticed Cage's package until Byron is like, look, Cage's package is in our face again. And I'm like, well, okay, I wouldn't have ever noticed that if you hadn't been pointing and staring at it.
All right, so Casey is with me on this because he wears baby blue tights at Bola 2015, and he got up on the turnbuckle and raised his arms and then and just put it out there for us to see. And Casey never unsee it. And
I'm sorry, Byron.
It's like
when Brian Cage raises his arms, I'm making eye contact. I'm not going. Oh, raises his arm.
It's like he teabagged. He was teabagging everyone on that corner of the ring. And then there was this other set of tights that he was wearing.
Have you seen his biceps, though? How are you not looking at his arms or something else? Like, you're looking at his junk?
I don't want to. I don't want to.
The silence speaks volumes. I appreciate that. That was the most uncomfortable 2 seconds of my life. Oh my
at least you're being completely honest. I don't want to. It's a very good answer. Thank you, Byron.
I do know that there was this one picture that they had of Cage when he was at the temple.
Okay,
at the top
stop.
of the steps.
Let's move
and
on.
he was like,
okay.
yeah, you know. And I remember that day. I remember that taping. And Casey and I both can confirm that before they posted that picture, they very clearly photoshopped. They blacked out that area in his tights, so you couldn't tell that he was wearing another set of moose knuckle tights.
All right, Byron, let's just say this. I'm not too worried about you yet, but if you start writing Brian Cage /fiction, we're done. Me and you are done. Just all I'm saying.
I'm not writing anything, let alone that.
Or filming it or imagining it.
Don't record. Don't record any Brian Cage fiction either. Then.
Yeah, whatever it is that you are thinking about a Brian Cage, you probably just need to keep that between you and.
I'm trying to get
Mr. Santos.
I'm trying to get as far away as I can from those horrible images in my head. So I won't.
All right, back to Ivelisse and.
Right. So anyway, I like the finisher.
Yeah.
Evie gets the win, which makes sense here, and then Jeremiah comes out, and just to keep the match super fucking stiff, those hammer shots. Wow, talk about a fucking sell. I thought Jeremiah was legit fucking worked up right there for a minute. What was going on there?
I'm actually very interested if there is a season 4 and all that stuff moving forward to see Ivelisse work a program with Jeremiah, because I mean,
you think Sammy will be back? You think he'll come back?
I mean, I really hope. I think as far as intergender wrestling goes, I think that's, you know, she'll be able to excel. I think that her and Taya, I think, are tough as nails. And Taya's had her matches that earned her a lot of respect against Cage. Again, I'm not bringing it up. You guys are. But and I think this could be what Evie needs. Like, she had the one match with Mill, and that, you know, showed her off a little bit. But working a program and having a series of matches with someone like Sami Callihan will really show people what she can bring to the table. Also, follow-up question. How did it feel when your ankle broke the third time with a hammer?
Yep, you're a heel. Nicely played. Nicely played.
You know, honestly, I liked it. It was good just because, you know, I mean, I've said it before on Twitter. It's just, I love how, and I'm not kissing butt or anything, but I just love how all, like, there's so many stories there, but they're basic. It's so weird because they're all kind of tied together somehow, and I just love the fact that, you know what I mean, the whole Katrina, you know, and Crow, you know, storyline is basically, you know, like, because he hasn't even wrestled yet. He still has to wrestle, but he was he was included in that storyline, which I still have no idea what's going on. There's, you know, there's the medallion.
Yeah, more to that storyline.
Yeah.
There's still so much to talk about, but I love the fact how everything's kind of tied in together. You know, I always love it because, you know, like you guys know, I don't know any of those storylines. I'm there for the shows, but I'm not there for the vignettes or anything. So I have no clue what's going on. I have no idea. You know, all the vignettes I see with you guys at the same time. So I don't.
I mean, literally though, I don't think anybody really knows. Like, it would take the whole locker room getting together over drinks and hanging out and trying to piece together. Oh, I filmed this. I shot this. Oh, so that maybe means this is going to happen. Like, you would have to literally get the whole cast together, or torture DJ. That'd be like the only way you're going to find out.
And actually, it's funny because, like, sometimes, like, we'll be having dinner afterwards, and they'll tell me, "Oh man, you know, I shot this vignette," and I'm like, I don't want to know. I actually tell the guys to not tell me because I want to know. I want to be surprised when I watch the show, and they're like, "Really, you don't want to know what?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know because I want to know when it airs because that's how much I love the show. I don't want to be spoiled."
Yeah, and I mean, and that's exciting too, and especially when you've been, like, we love seeing the show live, so we have to go. But at the same time, afterwards, I kind of want to forget about it. Like I've heard Mil Machete say it a couple times too, that he tries to forget after he leaves there so that he can enjoy it again later, and so that you can enjoy the full presentation of how, you know, DJ and Roach and Evie Dub meant to present it. And I guess I'll throw Stolman in there. Stolman.
Hello, Jerry.
But I liked, I liked what they were doing with The Rock in the match too, and kind of playing up the symbolism and, you know, what Katrina needing The Rock and then wanting to get it back desperately and running away with it at the very end, and that she was more concerned with that than anything Jeremiah or Evie was doing.
It was also, here's something that's a little weird to me. I like that Evie won, and obviously The Rock had to play into the finish, but and I'm happy Evie won for reasons we've already gotten into, and also just for the storyline.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
It's weird that Katrina lost a match when she's invincible and can teleport. Why doesn't she just teleport out of a pin or a move? And she's invincible.
Yeah.
And can't die.
But when she teleports and when she's invincible, isn't she holding The Rock?
Ooh, that's or
the medallion,
right?
I don't know.
Isn't that the whole? Isn't that she has The Rock in her hand when she's teleporting? When she's talking to Cage and Cage is holding her neck, she has The Rock in her hand, right?
You might be onto something.
Had the gauntlet on her, and that kept her from doing. Maybe the gauntlet drained her.
No, because remember Cage had her with the neck, and he was gonna backspin of death, you know, Shibata her, but she disappeared, right? Wasn't she holding The Rock?
I don't know if she was holding The Rock or not. I know that when she first tried to
she usually is.
She couldn't because of the gauntlet.
She usually is
holding it.
Yeah.
So there you go. So I mean, that's why, you know, she can't. I mean, unless the referee, which I'm sure the referee made her put The Rock down, right?
Well, she had it in her box,
right?
What? So because I said in her box, Byron. Really? How old are you?
The Rock is in the box. What's going on?
I was reacting to Dante outing Mil Machetes as drinking Zima.
What's wrong with Zima?
I'm not 7 years old anymore. I don't fuck around with that.
I honestly have not had a Zima since 1994. I think literally was the last time I had a Zima.
You were like 35 back then, right?
Fuck you. I was 34.
The years actually make a difference when you get up there. I'm told.
Yeah, they make a little bit of a difference at my age. Shut up. You'll be here soon.
Everyone.
When's your birthday?
My birthday is March 1st.
Not anymore, motherfucker. I stole that shit.
My birthday is March 1st. I won that competition fair and square by everyone getting too drunk and forgetting to finish the game, and everyone just assumed I won. Which
you're wrong. I won, and it's been my birthday. That's why you're so young, because you haven't had a birthday in the last 7 years.
Everyone in my writing class thought, well, not everyone, but the people I talked to, I think, thought I was like 30, and I was like, this class already paid for itself.
You just go there for the undeserved youthful thanks from your co-writers.
We'll watch old SNL clips, and I'll be like, I don't know who Will Ferrell's impersonating either.
Are my chips too crunchy? I think the chat room doesn't like my chips. I got these from, I'm in New Orleans right now, and I went to one of my favorite restaurants right where I used to live when I was here, called The Butcher. It's at Cochon, and fabulous sandwiches. I had pork belly, and I have a little half pastrami for later, but they also make their own chips.
Good Lord.
I have one of their hats. I love
it. They're good. That used to be my gimmick, motherfuckers. Eating on this show used to be my gimmick. Be thankful I dropped that gimmick a long time ago.
No, yeah, I remember you eating on the show every single week.
Yes, I remember that too.
Hey, look, when I get back to LA, I've got 2 boxes of Count Chocula waiting to be eaten on this show.
Oh, I gotta eat. We gotta have a cereal war episode. I'm gonna get Cinnamon Toast Crunch
next Thursday night, brother.
I'm busy.
Or Friday because we got.
What are you busy? What are you doing?
I don't know.
We're doing Friday next week because of Casey, right?
I want to go to the Brooklyn Film Festival, but I'm sure I could do this before then.
No, let's do it Friday next week. Everyone listening now, Friday next week, because we're going to get Casey back and tell him how much we miss him and how much we need him back regularly. Now, see, people, look, we make fun of Casey, but honestly, people don't realize this show honestly would not exist without Casey. This show probably would have never happened, even though he wasn't on the first episode. The whole point of the first episode was like, oh my God, Casey and J Ray could do a podcast from a noisy street. The Last Real Heels could do a podcast from their car. Clearly, we could be doing a podcast and having fun that no one will listen to.
I remember that.
And we really just wanted to make fun of Casey and J Ray. That was really kind of the point.
I remember that Casey episode when he was like literally in the parking lot waiting for like a toy shop to open. I'm like, wow, this is fascinating. Like that. I'm like,
it was painful.
Hey guys, we're waiting for Toys R Us to open. What do you want to talk about? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, this is great, but and then literally was like, you know what? I don't feel so bad now. It's people like Casey that makes you think, you know what? If Casey can do it, literally anybody can do it.
That's kind of what I thought. And then Casey stopped doing that show, and I was like, oh, well, Casey, why don't you come over here and hang out with our show? Because you don't have to do much. I mean, if you can hang out and sit in a car, you could clearly just hang out and talk to me and Byron. We're just going to talk about shit we always talk about. And that was kind of the birth of the full version of MMM show. But a lot of people probably don't know that.
I bust Casey's balls a lot, but I love Casey. He's a good guy. I like hanging out with him when I come to LA.
The best part about it is we could say all the nice stuff about Casey. He'll never listen this far because he's not on this episode. He'll never know. Like Byron, you could actually say something nice about Casey right now, and he'll never know.
I want to say what up to Josh Pillow. Thank you for your friendship, and congratulations on everything that's going well in your life.
You just totally no-sold your opportunity to say something nice about one of your bestest buddies.
Why would I say something nice about him? It's horrible. All he does is insinuate that he has anal sex with me on a daily basis.
What's that? Okay, here you go. I'm eating a chip.
Zeus King even is in the chat room talking about how much he thinks Casey sucks.
Jagos, DJ after the show last week, as we were signing off, made sure to let me know when I said thank you for coming on or whatever, that it was the best time he's ever had on the show, legitimately, and it was purely because Casey was not on it. And DJ's really, really had like the best time he's ever had with us, and might actually even come back on our show now, even though he hates us and used to swear he would never be on the show.
He showed up like blackout drunk one time because he thought Casey was on the show.
He thought Casey was going to beat him up on the Sexy Star thing.
So
yes, I remember that. Oh, I got so much heat that night. That was so awesome.
I think everybody got heat that whole week.
Hey, Sexy Star, I saw got booked on a Progress show, but here's the kicker, because it's better if you actually see it in text. It's Sexy Star with 2 R's at the end, because there's a tag team with David Starr and some other dude who calls himself Sexy, so they call themselves as a tag team Sexy Star.
That'll get heat. That'll get the best heat.
I don't know. I've seen David Starr. He's fun in person.
Byron, you ready to talk about this Apuestas match?
Hey, we got on TV a whole bunch.
Yeah, where were we during Dante and Killshot?
We were over there too.
I know, but they got no shots of us during Dante and Killshot, and yet for some reason for this match they had us all over the place.
I think they saved it for this, and they won't cut to us for the rest of the show. I just remember I hadn't seen the show last night, so I had to watch on iTunes. So this morning I see Andre's tweet of my reaction when Marty starts ripping the mask off. I'm like, oh no, what happened? Because he put a GIF. That's very.
Honestly though, I saw Byron like at least 10 times.
Well, yeah, he's a big giant red Christmas light. He's pretty easy to find for the camera.
Out. I have a face that you just want to look at. And
plus, he was the only person standing in our section with a poor little old lady sitting behind him who was just trying to see the show.
Okay, poor old lady. That was for a guarantee confirmed, #confirmed. That was one of Melissa Santos's friends wearing high heels and like a mini skirt sitting behind me with some other dude. And because they were talking after the show, and they asked me to sit the fuck down during the show.
They wanted to see. You're a tall, big, lurpy dude.
Then they ended up moving because we're at Ultima Lucha Tres, and some of the people had to be into the show. I remember these other seats, this idiot with like a bad, like light green faded hair was sitting next to us. He looked like he like worked out and wrote books about it. And he sat on his hands the whole time.
Oh my
I mean,
god!
It just it upset me. Like there were a lot of VIPs there that just didn't. They were too cool for school. Whereas,
Oh man, do you guys remember the? You guys remember Ultima Lucha, the very first one?
the Pentagon match.
Yeah, but like just like everybody would, because I don't, you know, because Ultima Lucha usually, I think the first one there was a lot of you know, friends and family there, and like when Vampiro was wrestling Pentagon, like literally everybody was like, "What the hell am I watching?" Like they were just like, "What is happening?" Like everyone was just like,
Oh, there was a whole
"Did
lot of
this
that
guy?"
during
Like I
Dante
mean,
and Killshot too,
oh yeah,
and this
well,
Phoenix
yeah,
match. I mean,
but it
like,
wasn't as bad. I mean, like I remember like the first Ultima Lucha, because there must have been like a lot of friends and family, because there was a lot of kids there. I
Yeah.
remember, and
I
just
remember-
they were just like, oh my god, somebody just died in front of us. It was and like half the fans were, you know, the fans that were there, that were, you know, they had been there for the whole the whole Lucha Underground season. They were loving it, but you can tell the people that weren't there, like, that was like their first wrestling experience, and they were just like, what the hell is this? You know, I'm waiting for, you know, they're probably thinking it's gonna be, you know, Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and like Pentagon just like killed Vampiro with a light tube.
I think it was kind of the same at this one too. And for people who don't know, when you go to the temple, you have to be over 12 years old if you are a regular person there. But the VIPs, you know, you're not going to tell somebody who's like the vice president of, you know, distribution over at MGM when they show up with their kid to kick rocks, you can't bring your kid in here. So those are the only times you know that they're VIPs, because that's the only time kids under 12 are ever there. You know,
I remember. Well, I mean, I remember seeing like the family leaving mid-match,
yes,
which was incredible.
Oh,
The kids were like, definitely, that was the moment that shaped the rest of their lives. Maybe not.
I mean, you gotta admit, if you know, if you're, you know, if you don't watch wrestling, and you kind of watch wrestling, and I'm sure you've seen like John Cena and Rey Mysterio, you know, and then you come and you come and you're seeing, you know, Dante Fox hit a chunk of his back on a stretcher. You're just like, you know what, that's something a little different than I'm used to, you know.
And don't forget, like, all that happened after this Phoenix Marty match, right?
Right, exactly, yeah. I think, man,
but you bring your kids. You bring your kids to the show. They do, like, we're filming a TV show, lawyer talk at the very beginning, and the whole building just erupts in a bodily fluids chant.
At the lawyer.
That's a sign.
Oh man,
that's foreshadowing.
That should tell you where you're. It's a very hard PG-13 at Lucha Underground. Very hard.
I miss the temple so much. I can't wait to go back.
Oh man, we all got to get back there soon. All right, so hair versus mask. We've been talking about it, but Phoenix definitely got the love, literally, on the ring entrance. And I think Marty tore into Phoenix's mask, about 25 seconds into this match? I mean, it was pretty early on when we were already seeing that pretty face, Phoenix's pretty little lower face coming through.
But it's covered in blood, so it's obscured.
Not immediately.
At first, he got a nice little tear, and then the blood just.
Well, first he did the dive, and then Marty pushed the Mariposa in front, so that was awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
And then she left, so I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, who wouldn't leave? She should. Like, fuck you, Marty.
There's a very weird relationship that's going on there at that family, but hopefully we'll know more about it.
Let's talk more about it.
I don't know if I want to know more about that particular relationship. I'm a little worried from some of the theories that Casey has had about that relationship. That
what is it?
It might make the show a little more than a hard PG-13 if we were to find out about all of that relationship. If you know what I'm saying.
I'm afraid to ask.
You think they've made out before?
That'd be a nice way of asking the question, I guess.
Their brother and sister, you think they've touched things before? Is that what you're insinuating?
Well, I'm feeling even queasier from that than all the blood that happened in this match.
You had issues with the questions I was raising earlier, and I'm letting you ask your questions now.
No, yeah, I'm really hoping that there's not some deep-seated incest angle there. That's what I'll call it like I see it. I hope that I don't see that.
Well, my whole thing about incest in wrestling is that Vince seems, for the whole Attitude Era, it was always like Vince is planning to do an incest angle with these people. Like it seemed like Vince McMahon had a hard on for incest angles, and he sort of did one once, but he was always like really wanting to do it.
That right there is. Can we have that be the title of the episode? Vince McMahon has a hard on for incest angles. That's gonna get a lot of downloads.
When that didn't work for him, it was like giving birth to hands and necrophilia angles instead.
Well, I mean, didn't he have like an angle where, Vince has had some weird angles with him, especially once he got Stephanie and his wife and Linda involved. It did get weird for a little bit.
He wrestled a match with his daughter. He stared at her boobs on camera. Weird stuff with his daughter. Ryan Shamrock was supposed to be an incest angle with Ken Shamrock.
Really?
I'm sure. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but also it's like you're gonna tell Ken Shamrock that you're gonna put him on TV having sex with his sister. I think Ken Shamrock will probably have something to say about that. And then, but then Drew. No, it wasn't. It was a pirate and pirate and his sister were.
Hey, maybe that's where they're going with the Jason Jordan thing.
Him and Kurt Angle.
Yeah. Maybe Vince is bringing it back.
No, the Jason Jordan thing, they're trying something they've done a few times. They're putting him out there as a babyface and making him be cheesy and sort of heel.
But that would be the ultimate Vince angle. It would be interracial gay incest. That would be like the ultimate Vince angle, right?
That's the ultimate Vince.
Well, when you get to 70 years old, you got to find new ways to get your kicks.
And then you can kill Kurt Angle and get your necrophilia in there too.
All right, guys, we're gonna do the Dusty finish. Hell no, we're gonna do the incest interracial gay angle.
Well, they could just put Ric Flair in a match.
It sweeps, guys. Come on, it's WrestleMania season. We gotta go.
That's exactly what's happening. Damn it, I'm convinced of it now. God damn it!
God damn it, pal! I want to see incest. Yeah, I mean, why not? Right? I mean, enough hard
way headbutts for Vince.
Yeah, I don't think the Moths have is going to go that way. I think it's just I literally think they hate each other. I think it's one of those like those families where they literally beat the crap out of each other. But so anyways, back to the match. She leaves, and then Marty exposes the turnbuckle, and then he gets he like literally just falls right on that thing. Which we all know from Cesaro getting his teeth jammed up his gums. That's not fun. So, and then Marty, and then Phoenix begins to just flow with blood. I mean,
yeah, which was awesome, by the way.
Crap.
The chat room thinks we're averse to this kind of thing. No, I'm a sick sadistic fuck.
That
blood was awesome.
Yeah. No, the blood was cool. The incest, maybe not so much from my side, but yeah, the bleeding, like Phoenix.
Which side was your side?
No, I'm not into. No, you guys were talking about how you like the incest angle, and it's not my cup of tea. But if there's one thing they could count on, it's Phoenix bleeding like a stuck pig, and it was awesome. But he's one of the few pure baby faces in the
honestly,
temple.
I feel like if he hadn't had the mask on, that thing would have been spurting. Like you would have actually seen some real geyser action.
You saw rivers like pour out.
And honestly, I'm pretty sure they actually cut it down on the show. Like there was a few moments where like he lifted up the mask a little bit and blood just went like just gushed out, and they cut that shit out.
Yeah, I remember when he took that the double knees to the face and he looked up. I remember there was just like it was just going nuts, and yeah, it was. He's definitely a bleeder for sure, but I mean I think the mask did kind of tone it down a little bit. But I honestly, I loved it. I loved the whole entire thing just because you can just tell, it just made it awesome.
Yeah, and he didn't miss a step after that either. Like, we were a little worried, like, oh, maybe he's losing too much and they're going to have to cut this thing short. But he did not lose a step, and he kept going the whole way, hit every spot, like, spot on.
Right. I mean, and I love Melissa. Melissa just like right there, just, you know, you can just, you know, you can feel how, you know, how she felt. It was, honestly, I love that match. Was so
Who the hell knew Melissa was that loud? Like, that girl got piped.
I know what. Hey-o.
I didn't even mean it that way. But she was really like we've heard her do stuff, and, you know, she had her match and everything. So you know where she's at. But at the same time, when she was yelling at Marty and they were doing their bit at the end of the, you know, don't hurt him, I'll do whatever you want kind of thing. I mean, she's not mic'd there, guys. And she was loud as shit. Like, they put a mic even on Brenda. They did not put a mic on Melissa.
Yeah, my favorite part was when Marty got the scissors and he put it right like on the throat, and you can just hear her. It wasn't like a normal scream. It was just like one of those, like, oh my God, please, you know what I mean? It was just, I loved it. It was just awesome.
Yeah, that was like, anybody who thinks Melissa can't act, you're wrong. That shit was good. She was like on point. The reaction was great. All of us were screaming like no matter what you think about wrestling or what you think, you know, you get to a moment like that where everyone is putting in the work, and we all, for at least a half a second, thought, oh shit, Marty might cut a fool. Like,
yeah, I mean,
it was that moment. Go ahead, Vinny.
No, I'm agreeing with you guys. I'm sorry. I know I'm getting excited. So I you know, when I get excited about wrestling, I always talk too much, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's great. It was good. It was that freaking good. I couldn't believe it, man. And like, I kind of felt where the finish of the match was going, but it didn't matter when you got there. And those are the best matches to me, where it's like, it doesn't matter if you know where a match is going to go or how it's going to end storyline wise. When the storytelling gets that compelling and you're that sold at the ending of what's happening, like, that's why I love wrestling. It's those moments, and you can't get them every day. You have to work up to them. You have to make it mean something where you finally get there. Marty's just been creepy to this girl forever, you know, and there's been this soft sell ever since end of season 1, where he started creeping on her, you know. So you figure 60 episodes later of television is where this starts to pay off. That's amazing.
Yeah, I loved it. The timing of it, just the whole entire thing, where, you know, because she gave him the low blow, and then just Phoenix just killed him with that. Well, I don't even know, it was like a knee or a foot to the back of the head.
It was kind of like a Bomaye.
Yeah,
it was just awesome. But I mean, like, everything, just the whole timing of it, because as soon as she came in, and she actually, like, you know, kicked him in the balls. I mean, just, you can just tell everybody was like, you know, yeah, it was just a good, you know. And then it wasn't like, my favorite, the thing I like, it wasn't like, oh, she kicked him in the balls and then he got rolled up. It wasn't like that. It was like, she kicked him in the balls and then Phoenix still kicked him in the head and hit him with the 450. You know what I mean? So it's like, it was just a perfect thing. Because, you know, I mean, we all know, we've all seen those wrestling things where it's like, you know, the girl comes in, kicks him, and the guy rolls him up real quick, which is fine, but it's not satisfying. Like, nobody,
right, it's not main event caliber either. You still want that main event finish in a moment like that, instead of, you know, just a soft finish. Like, that's for hour 1 of Raw, the quick kick and roll up, you know, the schoolboy.
Well, I mean, there was a solid 6 months of women's wrestling on WWE where every match finished in a roll up.
I mean, 6 years. I mean, come on.
But one thing, if there would be a theme for tonight's or for Ultima Lucha Tres
Part Dos,
it's just like, it's resolution to blood feuds, you know,
with blood,
the pun, with
actual, like,
blood. Both matches, like, they hated each other, they beat the hell out of each other. It wasn't pretty at all. And there was lots of bleeding, there was lots of violence and brutality, and then there was a satisfying end.
And this is one of the matches too that last week, when we said, yeah, if you thought Dante and Killshot was great, there's still more great stuff coming. And don't get me wrong, I still think Dante and Killshot was probably the best match, But there's still even more after this, man. There's a few more where you're going to be like, oh, damn, they fucking pulled it all out again.
But you guys would agree that, but that's the whole point of of a season ending episode. You know what I mean? You gotta you gotta have those tying in those loose ends, and to me, you know, watching Melissa kick him in the balls and then have Phoenix pin him and then cut his hair while Mariposa gave him a chair shot and she leaves him right there. To me, that was like, all right, that closes the chapter on that book. You know what I mean? Like, it's not you don't expect season 4 to start and Phoenix and Marty are still against each other. Like, you're not gonna, what I mean? You're like, oh nope, it's fine, it's done. That story is done, and that's what I miss about wrestling is there's, you know what I mean? Like, and with other wrestling right now, there's a match, supposedly the ending match, but then a week later they'll still wrestle each other, or they'll, you know what I mean, or they'll still do something. I'm like, to me, that's how, and
like you actually have an ending. Yeah, I would expect that Phoenix and Marty will move on from each other, and then this opens it up for Mariposa's storyline a little bit to see where she's going. And we don't know if it's a face turn or if it's just dissension with her and her brother, or if they make up and everything is fine.
Whatever. I mean, even just a new people, but I don't expect them. I don't see them, against each other, which is great.
Yeah,
and that's how and that's why a good season ending should be. I believe.
And it's pretty satisfying to see Marty do the Telly Savalas thing there.
Yeah.
Damn, it's a shame though. In real life, he grew that shit back fast. I was kind of bummed out. I was hoping to see him rock the Telly Savalas for a while and maybe go out and do some matches with the bald head. But he stayed under wraps for like a month, and he came back with a nice short buzz cut. And I was like, damn it.
It is funny because, like, sometimes when those, when a lot of wrestlers lose their hair on a hair versus a mask match or whatever, they'll buzz it completely off, and from now on will be completely bald. But
right,
because I remember, like, didn't he have like was it Triple Mania, like, right after that or something?
Yeah, by the next time you saw him, he already had like a nice little.
Yeah, it was already grew back.
I kind of like that he grew his hair back in time for the match to air. I was worried that it was going to be real spoilery. I didn't know there's going to be 14 months for him to grow his hair back.
Yeah, we were wondering that, like, oh man, he's going to have to, like, but it's not like he takes a ton of indie bookings and stuff anyway, you know? He's not one of these guys that's out every weekend like Cage. Cage is out all the time.
Yeah, Cage is hanging out all the time. I know. But Cage lost a hair match with, I think it was Del Rio. And then that's when he started doing the Mohawk when it was growing back. So
show me that again, Byron, one more time. Do the Mohawk real quick.
Awesome. This is where the hair goes, right there. And he started doing a Mohawk after that. And it was really badass. It actually improved him to lose that hair match.
Well, yeah, because before he had, like, remember he had that faux hawk, and then he, like, remember he put a little bit of color in it. I was like, what are you doing, man? Come on.
Yeah, like, some guys should just be bald.
Looks good. I'm like, all right,
if you say so, Brian.
Come on, bro. What's up, bro? It looks cool, man. I'm like, yeah, dude, faux hawk and a little bit of blue hair to match your baby blue tights. So,
since you've talked about Cage so much, Byron, do you have any update on little baby Cyborg yet?
Huh? No.
I think Byron spent from thinking about baby blue tights right now. He's like,
I don't.
I need a cigarette.
I know why Byron has problems with Melissa now. I get it. It all makes sense. Everything is.
I don't have problems with her. I don't have problems with her. It's moving on.
It's what? Go ahead.
No, it's just she comes across.
No, go ahead. Say some stuff so I can't ever get Melissa as a guest. Go ahead. Go for it.
It'd be really great. I would love Melissa to come onto the show. We can ask her questions about.
Yeah, what questions, Byron? Like how she botched a ring announcement sometime, or what?
No, everyone loves her, and what it was like to start at the show, at the Lucha Underground show, and what her history with I think it was WoW.
She didn't even start. Yeah, I was gonna say she didn't start the Lucha Underground show.
No, she started at when she started at Lucha. How was that like, considering that she did have a wrestling background, even though she was predominantly an aspiring actress, and how much that played into her getting involved in the ring. Like, did she want to do it?
Okay.
And she asked to do it, or did they go, do you want to do it? And she said, well, sure, because I can. Also, she botches a serious ring announcement every single show.
Wow. Okay.
That's just a fact.
Any you want to ask her about? Did she have any injuries that you want to ask her about?
Not yet.
All right. Good.
Okay.
Awesome, Byron.
Thanks, Byron.
I'm surprised Byron hasn't mentioned anything about me, like anything, like bad about me. Any questions? So I can leave.
My favorite.
I do have a question for both of you, though. Okay.
Oh.
You guys have both seen the episode. Who got more airtime, Byron or Vinny?
Byron,
I'm just kidding. I mean, that's the question for this. That is the ultimate question for this week, because they really did show the shit out of Byron at the end of the show.
My favorite part was when there was when Pimpinella was walking out and dancing. Byron's like, was clapping along, and then he turns to the girl next to him and goes, and you can tell Byron's like explaining like the whole entire history of Pimpinella, and she's like, what? Like, I don't care. I'm just dancing right now.
Byron loves to dance. You probably don't know this about Byron. He's not any good at it.
Oh, we know.
But he loves to dance. Hey, Byron.
I'm gonna no comment everything about that.
Okay. You have to go out on a date with Byron so he can bring you on the podcast, and then he can tell you about his dancing.
Sounds good to me. We'll Periscope the whole thing. Let's do it.
No, Byron actually did. Byron came on the show once with a date. I mean, I don't even know if it was really a date. They were just hanging out. I don't want to over-categorize it and mess you up with your lady friend, because I don't know if she knew it was a date, even though I'm pretty sure you thought it was a date.
No. It was we were hanging out in between.
Right.
Things. We were eating
just on the way from one place to another. Yeah. I get it. I understand.
Yeah. Hey, you don't mind if I do this little show real quick? It's my show. It's about me. Just gonna do a quick little show. You don't mind, do you?
Oh, he totally did it, and he explained everything to her the whole time too. He was like, "Oh yeah, so you see, well, in wrestling, like, oh, well, we're on there." He's like, "Well, in wrestling,
I explained the
two guys are selling something, that means that they're." It's like, oh my god, what is happening here? It was amazing. It was the best show ever. All right, so
you talk about how good Casey is and important he is to the show.
I want to talk about the Meltzer thing now. Since I teased that I would talk about it. Well, first, what episode? What matches are next week? Do we know what matches are next week?
That's it, right? There's all of them, right? Or
Is it a 2-hour special to finish?
Is next week the 2-hour special, or is there 2 more?
There's a ladder match.
No, I thought there was four weeks of.
Oh, there's 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 4.
Well,
there's 4.
I think next week is the Son of Havoc versus
Pentagon,
and then Matanza and Dragon Azteca Jr. cage match.
And then are we doing the last Luchador standing?
Oh yeah, and then Sexy Star and Taya. That's all next week.
Yeah, I think that would be what next week is, and if it is, that's another one that should be pretty good.
But I remember all those 3 matches. Those are all good matches, I think. I'd be fine if I remember correctly.
Which would leave what? Well, Jeremiah, Cage, and Mill might be next week too.
No.
Is that the following week? Is that in the last episode?
I thought that was the last episode. I don't remember.
It might be.
But there's still a lot of matches.
That second day, man, I was so kind of tired and out of it and delirious and still having fun. But, I'd been in the streets with Urban at whatever o'clock in the morning and waiting in line and like being tired from the first day and just worn out. Like that second day is a little more of a blur. But I know the finish is big. That's all you get out of me. I've actually had people DMing me asking me to tell them what the finale of Ultima Lucha Trace is going to be.
I have
like seriously. It's already out there. B, I'm not going to be the one to tell you. Like, don't ask me shit like that. You'll never get that information out of me.
I just told people that I do a big run in and chair shot everybody. So
that's what we tell people too.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's I too have had people to spoilers, and I tell them I don't know because I don't want to get fired.
No one asked me.
Well, that's also true. Like, yeah, I'm not going to violate the NDA. It's not worth it. Okay, so Meltzer reported that in the Wrestling Observer on Wrestling Observer Radio, I'll give him his proper due credit. he basically has been saying that Lucha Underground is getting some good news, and the fact that they have some new source of funding, as he puts it, but that source of funding is going to spend far less money per episode for the season than what the company had been spending previous seasons. Okay, so this is another one of those Meltzer is right and Meltzer is wrong things.
How do you know?
Well, I know because I know.
Wait a minute. How the hell do you know?
I'll tell you, I know because I know. So, look.
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, exactly. It's not allowed to make sense because I can't tell you how I know, because then A, you could know, and B, I'm not necessarily supposed to know, but I do.
Listen, you guys, I just saw a GIF of Katrina's finishing move, and there's no way that's a stunner. She has Ivelisse in a butterfly, like she's going for a butterfly suplex. You know what I mean?
Nobody said it was a stunner.
No, Vinny said it was a stunner.
No, he said it was like a stunner, except you're facing the other way, and there's a chicken wing.
What's the impact on that?
The back.
How?
It's awesome, dude.
You know what? I'm gonna go over there next week and I'm gonna do it to you.
Do it. See what happens. Find me. There's nothing that happens.
What are you hiding out? Come find me. I dare you.
I'm not even on the same coast as you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Vinny's like, yeah, I'm not going
too
out
much
my
work
way for it. Yeah.
Too much work.
All right, so the Meltzer thing.
Okay.
Again, and I've talked about this with people before. Like, look, Meltzer gets some information, but then the way that he conveys it is just it seems off. So the way I understand it is that, obviously there's a holdup with season 4. This is not a secret to anybody. If you heard Evie Dub on this show, you know that it's not a secret and that they're trying to do something. I think that the part that people don't understand is, well, who's trying to do what and what is the holdup? What's the issue? Like, don't be stupid, people. It's obviously money. Like, there's no dark arts, those dark science here.
People.
It's not about the ratings. It's not about the numbers. El Rey's plenty happy with the show and would love to have it, but clearly they don't want to spend the amount of money that is required, or they don't want to say they want to spend it. So here's what happens. If you're a company and you're making a show, what happens is the network says, we'll give you this much amount of money to make the show. And after a few years, a lot of times they want that show to come in cheaper. They want it to come in at a lower number to try to streamline the show, to try to get the same amount of ad revenue out of it and increase their profits, so that, after a show's been running, a lot of times things run smoother and you can figure out cheaper ways to do it. And so they're probably haggling back and forth over what that magic number is of per episode money. This is not anything out of the ordinary by any stretch of the imagination. There's a deadline. They have to go back and forth until they get to that deadline. Whoever flinches first is stupid. No one's going to flinch until right before the deadline. So that's just what it's going to be, people. No one is going to know the answer to all of this stuff and whether or not there's going to be a season 4 and whether or not it's going to be exactly the same as before, or if they're going to hit this, whatever this magic number is, until they get closer to that deadline, which I have all heard is coming up in the very near future. So I imagine before the end of 2017, we will all know the real answer. And it's that simple. Now, where Meltzer is kind of extrapolating and getting things wrong is, I believe that Lucha Underground is saying, fine, or I shouldn't say Lucha Underground, MGM is saying, fine. El Rey is not necessarily interested in giving us the same amount or whatever increases that we want for this next season. So let's see if we can find someone that will do some gap financing, that will fill in the middle part of it, still allow us to make this show for either some type of financial consideration in the product, some share in the product, or maybe some commercial consideration, or maybe a syndication consideration. They're looking for somebody else maybe to fill in the gaps, which is what Meltzer's talking about. I heard this same information a few weeks ago, and basically it sounds like there might be someone willing to do that. That's all that Meltzer is reporting, and maybe that does help the deal get done. But the way that he's expressing it is he's saying that because of these people, then the budget of Lucha Underground would be lower. No, because of these people, they'd be able to get the budget to where they want it to make the show at all. And that's where he doesn't understand the process of making a television program compared to a wrestling show. You're trying to finance in the holes. And it's just about money, people. It's just business. This has nothing to do with backstage wrestling politics whatsoever. And I'm here to tell you that for a fact, there is no one involved in the whole process, even the people who want to spend less on the product, that doesn't want the product back. Everyone involved wants the product back. It's simply a question of what the number is going to be that gets the product back, and if they're willing to meet that. It's that simple. And maybe they aren't. Maybe at the end of the day, maybe a month from now, we find out, fuck, they just couldn't come to a number that worked for anybody. Then most likely the rights to the show either revert back to Dorian or MGM or them combined, and El Rey just loses their opportunity to make the show, and it could still get made. It doesn't deter. The shows have jumped networks before, and if other people see the lucrative nature of it, or a place or a way that they can make money, and yeah, maybe it changes a whole bunch by then. Maybe wrestlers' contracts are void. Maybe everyone goes their separate directions and they have to reboot. Maybe that is even still the case if El Rey picks it up at this point. I don't know. All these contracts are different. Every performer with Lucha has a slightly different contract, especially the guys that came in season 2 are different than the ones from season 1. Some guys had longer term stuff. Some guys had shorter term stuff. Some guys already renegotiated. Everybody's got something a little bit different. So some guys might be able to get out of their contracts. Some guys might be able to go and do stuff for Dorian. Some guys might be allowed to go to TNA and other guys aren't. Everybody's contract's different. Mm-hmm. So the product might change because of this big, long lag. Maybe not. You heard DJ last week talking about, he has stuff and ideas written for the guys he's been told are still under contract and would be back if there was a season 4. That's what he's planning on. That's what EV Dub's planning on. That's hopefully what those performers are planning on. We know that there's a few of those guys that would love to see themselves get let out of it and who have just decided that this isn't a good situation for them for one reason or another. Some of them might be let go because of that. Some of them might be held to their contracts. This is the stuff we don't know. And just like Eric said when he was talking about Sexy Star, there's no reason for them to even go down that path of what they're going to do with performers or not, because they don't have an answer about season 4 yet. They just simply don't have it. But they are working on it every day. Yes, they're trying to get the financing to make the whole thing work, to get the budgets that they want, to go back in there, to rebuild the temple, to make everything exciting, to bring in more performers, to keep the guys that are there happy. Like, people, just because they're not talking about it doesn't mean this stuff isn't happening. Doesn't mean that there's not news. Doesn't mean that there's not advancements. And it takes Dave fucking Meltzer for anybody to listen to anything? Really?
Are you salty because we've been saying this and have interviews of people saying this nonstop, and then people only pay attention to him?
I'm salty because people think that because they don't see the motion that the situation is actually motionless, and it's not. There's people going back and forth every single day, taking meetings, working stuff out, looking at it on paper, working creatively to try to figure it out. And it's above everybody's pay grade. It's above every single person's pay grade who's talking about it publicly, including mine. It's above most people's pay grade that are involved in the product. Like, if you're not EV Dub or higher, you're probably not in the loop on it. Like, DJ doesn't know. DJ's trying to figure out if he needs to go get a job or if he's got some Lucha Underground work. Like, it's that simple. Nobody knows. I mean, these are guys, these are the millionaires are talking. Let them talk, people. We'll give them another month, and then after that, we raise holy hell, and I go down there and reopen the temple my goddamn self.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing that that I've been saying is because people, people always send me links, or because for some reason, they love to tell me when there's bad news about Lucha Underground, because they seem to think like I'm the only one that still likes it for some, I don't understand, because every time there's a bad news, they always link me, like they want me to like agree or disagree on. I don't get it, but every time they do it, I tell them the same exact thing. I don't know, and literally nobody knows. The only people that know is, like you said, somebody in atop a building, with that is in charge of a lot of shows and in charge of they know. They're the ones that know. Not anybody else. Not dirtsheets.com, not at bulletclubhero.com. None of those people know. So everyone keeps sending me all these negative news that and think that I'm gonna blow up on them, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, and this isn't information that's going to get out either, guys. It's not like there's some backstage or locker room or places where these things are being discussed that it could leak out to anyone at our level. Like, if you don't know an executive at Univision who's like the parent company of El Rey, or somebody at El Rey, or somebody higher up than EV Dub at MGM, and Dorian is the top of the ladder of Lucha Libre FMV, and he don't know. Like,
yeah, this isn't like the promoter and and the number one the trainer at their school having dinner at Denny's, and then they're discussing what's going to happen in a few months, and then they tell their top students, and then it gets leaked out. That's not it. It's not it's not like real professional wrestling. It's not like the other this is a TV show. Like, the very first day I was there, they told us it's a TV show, and this is what's happening. So
yeah, this is like the network renewal negotiation for Raw between USA and WWE corporate, which eventually does come out because WWE has shareholders, and USA has shareholders or whatever that they have to tell this stuff to. But when they're doing the negotiation, does anybody know any of that information? Hell no.
Right. It's it's like nobody leaks. Nobody leaked out the fact that they were canceling the the Edge and Christian show, because that was that was done inside an office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that's what's going on. I just I appreciate everyone, the ones that actually care about Lucha Underground, that send me positive things, but the ones that just for some weird reason want to see it gone and they try to rile me up, I thank you too. And yes, I know that I am for some weird reason I am the face of Lucha Underground when it comes to online stuff, and by all means, I'll fight all of you. I don't give a shit. Yes, I love that place. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of everyone talking shit about it and trying to rile me up. Yes.
Well, I just don't even understand what is there to talk shit about. It's like, if you're watching Ultima Lucha right now, it's like, it's still a great wrestling program. Is there somebody that really wants to tell me that Ultima Lucha Trace is not awesome?
Oh, trust me. I trust me. They're there. There's people that send me stuff all the time.
Why even bother hating on it though? It's like, look, if
and you know what?
Impact has a great episode next week, and I watch it, I'll be the first one to be like, yeah, I don't normally watch Impact, but damn, that was good.
That's fine. I've blocked many people online, and I'll keep blocking more. So go ahead and send me all the negativity you want about Lucha Underground, and I'll still be happy to be involved, and I'll still praise it and still talk great things about it. So by all means, continue to do whatever you want to do. I'm tired of it.
Well, and I'm gonna do my best to get Dave Meltzer a good source. That's what I'm gonna do to be positive. I'm gonna find Dave a good source. Maybe I'll just call Dave myself and start leaking information to him. So at least when he hits the dirt sheets with stuff about
Lucha, just tell Lucha Block, because that's how he gets his Lucha news. So
and I do, and Dave has re-reported stuff that came from us and went to Lucha Blog and then to Dave Meltzer. That's happened before, but that's fine. I don't care. He's got the bigger audience. I don't care how he gets his stuff, as long as he gets it out there and it's accurate. And again, like I said before, I appreciate Meltzer. I read his stuff all the time. I love it when he gives out numbers on pay-per-views and stuff. A lot of stuff people can't get, and and I've gone back and double checked his facts on a lot of that stuff too, and he seems to be pretty dead on with that stuff. You check it after the fact, and it's like, oh shit, Dave really did know what those pay-per-view numbers were like 15 days before everybody else somehow.
Well, yeah, I like Dave too. But it's you gotta pick and choose where the stuff that you listen to. But at this point, my friends, because I can feel like this is turning into it's gonna be a UFC chat.
Probably not a very long one, but yes.
Oh, is what time? I don't even know what time it is, but
it's almost 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, it's time. Well, I appreciate you having me on. Hopefully, Casey will be back, because I do bust his balls, but Casey's good, and I like having him here on the show. And thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Vinny.
You're always welcome at any time. Like, as I have always said, Vinny,
And,
for those who don't know, Vinny was our very, very first guest, and this officially
right.
makes him our latest guest. So
last guest? No way.
well, let's hope so. Let's not hope so. Let's hope we keep going for a long
I will.
time.
I'll leave you with this. November 4th in Stockton, California. If anybody's in town or anywhere near, I will be wrestling 101 against Phil Baroni, former UFC fighter.
Oh, badass!
The New York Badass.
Wow.
With special guest referee David Mitchell, who used to be in the UFC fighter, because obviously Phil goes nuts. We've heard stories about Phil going nuts. So if anybody is in town, Stockton, California, there's gonna be a lot of UFC people in the audience, because
Baroni's gonna punch you in the neck, Vinny. He's gonna like try to punch you in the collarbone.
I'm gonna go train some jujitsu, over in Stockton, and get ready, because all I want to do is I'm just gonna
get him to the ground, man.
Get him to the ground. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna jump in and grab guard right away.
Yeah, please don't let that fool swing on you, because he hits mighty hard and not very clean.
Right, and the best part is I don't think he knows how to wrestle, so I'm probably just gonna punch me all he wants. So it's gonna be fun.
Sweep the leg, Vinny.
All right. Well, not a real leg, but I appreciate it. Not like Evilise, right, Byron?
Yeah. Let's
drop him on his head.
Oh, jeez.
Thank you, Byron. All right, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Vinny.
For being with us, Vinny.
Later, brother. That was for those who don't know, that was Vinnie Massaro
at Snoring Elbow.
At Snoring Elbow, because that elbow will put you to sleep.
Also, I want to say Cody Hall sucks. Fuck Cody Hall. Now, what do you want to talk about?
There's a big UFC this weekend. Watch it. I'm going to talk about it next week when Casey's here after we've seen the fight.
I'm very much looking forward to it for the same reasons that you are.
I want to talk to you about 2 WWE related things, since Casey's not here and we're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
First of all, the Enzo factor. Is this the right move with Enzo?
The whole thing that's been happening with Enzo has been kind of pitch perfect, and who knows how deep it goes. Who knows if it all started when we started reading on the dirt sheets and Reddit that Roman Reigns kicked him off a bus for being annoying. Because one, if that was fake and that was just planted to get everyone to hate Enzo, like, we already knew he was annoying. It was a lazy attempt, but also it was very effective. Everyone started hating Enzo, and his whole thing with Cass was kind of super lame. Cass got hurt, whatever. That probably wasn't fake. That's probably real. But Enzo's now doing his thing in 205. Everyone hates him. They're working that angle. And the thing is, when Enzo shows the least bit of humility, shows up with some bruises on his face, he becomes way more compelling than he ever was. And he comes out there and he talks shit like he can talk shit. And he has enough personality for that whole show. And ultimately, it revitalized Enzo. Enzo is carrying 205 Live as far as making it, must-watch WWE programming. And it was one of my for me, I watched the Hulu edition of Raw, and that was the segment I was the most interested in.
It was great. It was a great segment. And here's the thing, and we've seen some of this stuff before. It's like, one day Jinder Mahal potatoes Finn Balor. 3 weeks later, he's in the title picture. Sometimes the punishment, for doing something in the WWE can be strange, because it's weird. I feel like Enzo is legit being punished and being made fun of. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, dude, you're going to take your lumps for doing some dumb shit, but you're also going to be rewarded. Like, we found a better spot for you. We're breaking you up because you can't get along with your boy. And we're putting you in the limelight also, because why should we punish ourselves just because we need to punish you? We're going to get the heat off of you and get the rub for the whole business, for the whole division, for a whole nother show. So it's like, yeah, he got demoted and promoted at the same time, and somehow it makes for the perfect television angle.
Yeah. And then all of it is to get Kalisto in. That deflated me a lot. Also, Kalisto is turning more and more into a poor man's like Drago / Ultimo Dragon.
Oh, worse than that, even. Like, I mean, that becomes the problem at the end of the day. I think that Enzo is giving that whole show the rub right now, but what's going to happen when that run is over? Like, how long do they have to let it go Asuka long to get anybody else over?
Yeah.
And you can't leave the belt on Enzo that long. It's not going to make any sense.
Well, he's talking shit, and then after he talks shit to everyone, they bring in someone else who was not involved at all, and then he beats up Enzo, and you're not invested in that. You're invested in he went to Tony Nese and said, "You have more abs than you have brains, you schmuck," which was amazing. But now you're like, but you learn something about Tony Nese's character by his reaction or whatever.
Yeah, like his name.
Yeah. So now you're like,
know his name before that?
So now you're like, well, I want to see Tony Nese. If Tony Nese punched him in the face, you'd have a reaction to that.
Now here's the other question. So he comes out with these catchphrases. They're totally over. Is Enzo a heel or a face right now?
It goes back and forth.
He's not working a tweener gimmick.
He isn't. He's doing his thing, and the crowd is weirdly cheering with him when he's telling the crowd how they turned against him.
Right, but the whole, like, if they want to turn him, I feel like they're going to have to lose the catchphrases in the intro.
I don't think he needs to follow those rules. I think he could do whatever he wants, and he's compelling enough. If the moment means he needs to have a certain attitude towards the crowd, because the crowd goes all over the place too. They'll
so they're going to actually let a character play the crowd back and forth like the crowd plays them. I mean, I know they do that when they go to Canada, but that's like the exception.
I don't even think it's like a company-wide thing. I think it's like a Cena thing. Cena will react to whatever crowd presents itself. If they cheer, he's with them. If they boo, he's still John Cena interacting.
But he won't heal him.
No, but that he's John Cena doing John Cena stuff, and he reacts as John Cena.
But Enzo actually healed out the crowd some in that segment too.
But that's Enzo. His character is that type of person, even as a face.
I guess so.
I think,
which makes him more of a tweener. But I don't feel like he's playing it like a tweener at all. I feel like he's either playing it full babyface or full heel, and it just like goes back and forth right now.
Well, it's compelling, but it's because there are those questions. But I also think that the crowd just kind of is weird or hypocritical or inconsistent, and Enzo is doing his thing. And sometimes when he does sort of the heel stuff, like you abandoned me when my partner turned on me or something. I remember, them cheering when he'd get beat up or something, and then they would cheer him. They'd give him the babyface cheers, and it's weird, but I think it's weird. I mean, I was there for the Brooklyn audience after SummerSlam, which the crowd just went into business for themselves, and I think Enzo is someone who can he doesn't get thrown off if he's doing a face gimmick and he gets booed, or vice versa. People
can say stuff about his ring work all day long, but the kid can bump.
Yeah,
like he really can. Like he might not have the sweetest finishers in the world, and he might not be Captain Flippy shit, but his bumps are real good. Yeah,
and I'd like to see him have a somewhat of a longer program with Neville, where Neville gets it back and he infuses some personality into everyone.
Do you really want to see the Neville program though? Because I feel like, okay, Neville, here's the deal, man. We're giving you Enzo for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
If you can't fucking use that heat and really get over, then F you, you're gone. Like, you can be Fergal's best friend backstage, but if you can't get out here and actually use this goddamn heat to get your character over finally, then F you, buddy. You had your shot.
Well, to be fair, I think when you look at the 205 crowd, Neville is one of the most compelling characters on that show.
Yeah, but wouldn't you rather see like an Austin Aries and Enzo program?
Well, Austin Aries isn't around.
Well, exactly.
But yeah,
that's part of the problem. There's no Austin Aries around.
Austin Aries would not need.
Who's the B program? Who's after Neville?
Let's
TJ?
see. I mean, no, fuck TJP. I think that Kendrick would be good, but he's not there to get that push and to get that spotlight. Who else? I mean, I guess they're trying to get Kalisto up and they want to make some money off of him now, but I wouldn't do that.
But that's fine.
I would
Kalisto is fine, but that's a one pay-per-view program where
you know who I would do?
Gets him over and then it ends. Like maybe Kalisto has a little run with the belt and then he drops it back to Enzo.
Yeah, I mean, Kalisto's a guy who's going to get over working on a work rate program. But I think really considering who was out there on the ring for that last program versus who was out there the week before beating him up.
Right.
I think I'm gonna fuck up his name. Metalik.
Grand Metalik?
Grand Metalik should be the guy who comes in, and I don't think he wins it right away because Enzo needs to be able to have some potency to him, his offense, to his character. So he needs to be able to cheat to win. You know, kick a dude in the dick.
He needs to have a dude who looks strong, who can talk to foil him, just like what Austin Aries would have done in that spot.
I'm looking at it like, yes, I think that's the most optimal pairing out of people who have been in that division or on that show. But I think I'm looking at it from a different perspective of,
well, hey, look, in 2 weeks and 90 days, maybe it could be Ricochet.
God, no, I don't want to see Ricochet on Raw against Enzo. But I think that Enzo should work a program that puts the other person in a much better position. I don't think that's Austin Aries because Austin Aries is already awesome and he's already there. I think if they could work something out where he talks a lot of shit and then someone else ends up way more invested in by the audience, right. And then they're happy that he's champ, and then you could bring Neville in to be the heel challenger again, and whatever. But I think that they need to really, they still need to bring up. Well, what about Cedric Alexander?
Cedric is probably, I think, my choice, honestly, which is where I was kind of going with this. But Cedric's going to need some serious stick work and some stick time to work out the kinks there.
What about Swan?
Swan, he's just, I don't think he's the right fit with Enzo yet. Like, I could actually see them tagging together down the line. Like, that would be the way to get Swan over.
Yeah.
So yeah. My thing is, though, where I think they need to be careful is the crowd is really behind Enzo. They don't know all this backstage shit. They don't know that Enzo's just a cockface in real life. So
it's
no, the real crowd. Look, there's going to be smarks there that know, but not everybody knows that. And I think the real thing that they have to be careful with is the fact that they've pitted him against the entire show. And if he really is the babyface with the WWE universe, then who does that make the heel? It makes the whole show the heel, which makes everyone in the WWE universe think that the show itself is inferior and deserves to lose. And that's where it becomes a problem, where then the show is not getting the rub. Instead, it's looking like Enzo should bury the whole show because the show itself is shit, which is not that far from the truth.
Yeah, I kind of like what I've seen at 205. I've liked it, but also it's an hour-long show, which makes it already just easier to manage, easier to handle. And but their personalities, their live performances, some of their vignettes are really bad. And I wonder if there's a purpose to just get as many people in a program with Enzo as possible to run them through to improve them.
Oh, and I hate
personality.
Yeah. Look, I hate to break the chat room's heart, but I can guarantee you right now, Trevor, Ricochet, Puma, whatever the fuck you want to call him, is trying to go to WWE. He would not be sitting around waiting out this contract, doing the things that he's doing, saying the things that he's saying, if he was not trying to go to WWE. He's done New Japan, guys. He does, he's not going to ever get over there. He's not going to move into the title picture there anytime soon. He's not a good enough talker, even for a gaijin. New Japan is not the place for him. New Japan is the place to see him if you want to see a good match. Yeah. But he is definitely going to the E. And in my opinion, I like the guy. I like his in-ring work. I think he's come a long way. I think, however, when he goes to the E, that he is going to regret it for a long time. I think it is not a good fit.
I don't know. I think he'll have a few years on his contract. He'll make some good money, and then
what? Go to Ring of Honor after that?
I mean, maybe season 4 will start up by then.
I don't know. And some of the way that he's talked, I think the door is still open for him to come back to Lucha Underground at some point, but definitely not before he goes to the E or tries, NXT or developmental there. And honestly, I hope he stays NXT. I hope he doesn't go to 205 Live for all the exact reasons we're talking about right now, because I don't think he can get over there. I don't think he can get over on Raw yet. I think that if they give him a good gimmick and teach him how to talk in NXT is the best chance that any of us have to see awesome stuff out of Trevor. And honestly, like the guy. So I hope that's what happens. NXT has gotten over a lot of people that might not have gotten over without that time at that show. And
yeah.
But for a lot of those people, it's not necessarily going to stick too. I feel like we're seeing the diluting of Shinsuke Nakamura as we speak. These things just don't always last very long, and gimmicks that work in NXT don't necessarily work on the big stage every time.
We'll see. Yeah.
Well, because they can't follow it up the same way story-wise. They can work longer angles on NXT. They can have things play out. They don't have to hotshot the belts over there to make things happen and stir things up. You just don't have those options with SmackDown. I mean, SmackDown's trying to compete with Raw.
Yeah.
So it has to kind of keep up on a certain level.
Yeah, no, I definitely think I think he'll have success. He'll have the success that he has under the WWE banner in NXT, and he won't get that failure and wish he was somewhere else until he gets to the main stage. But I mean, who knows? Maybe NXT will actually be a money-making brand by the time he would get called up, and they'll need star power like him for touring. I don't know. NXT is
possible.
Weird. Yeah. I mean, they're getting better touring. I think their women division has really been rebuilt, especially because of the Asuka thing, like you said, just killed it. And all the call-ups killed it. But I'm not Drew McIntyre's champ. I don't really care. I don't care about Roderick Strong at NXT. It's a lot of, I hate to say it because they're talented, but it's a lot of vanilla up there. And Bobby Roode was a vanilla champ. As cool as he was kind of a vanilla champ.
I liked Bobby Roode as champ, but that's just me.
He was heel, but imagine if he was babyface. Then you got Roddy Strong, you got Drew McIntyre. They're like, I'm tough, and then you have a match. And then what else? What do they have going on? I get they're really good. I fast forward. I'll watch an Aleister Black match all day,
which is the exciting thing to watch. All right, so. Last thing I'm going to talk about real quick, the UFC, my boy El Kukui, Tony Ferguson versus Kevin Lee. I think that Tony Ferguson is obviously going to be your next interim lightweight champ. I don't know if that ever will lead to a fight with Conor McGregor. That's the real question that everybody wants answered. You got the DJ, your real champion, as the co-main event and not the main event, which is hilarious. That should tell you something about how much Demetrius draws on pay-per-view, that he can't even headline a pay-per-view where he's the real champ and the fight above him is paper champion interim lightweight belt. But yeah, it's DJ versus Borg, that fight that got canceled last week. I believe that DJ wins that handily. I don't think Ray Borg's got anything for him. The most interesting fight on the whole card, actually, to me, is Fabricio Verdum versus the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. I have no idea who wins that fight. I want to say Derek Lewis. I love Fabricio Verdum, and he's won me money in the past because he's so damn good. That's an exciting fight. That's the fight of the night. That's the fight to watch. I think I'm going to take Derek Lewis by knockout in the second round, but I could be really, really wrong about that one. That's exciting. Everything on the, I guess Talis Ladies versus Tavares is maybe an interesting match. That's really about it. The rest of the fights on the card don't really interest me. Pro Gonzalez, I'll watch. I like Lando Venata, but against Green, I don't think that's a very interesting fight. Will Brooks versus Nick Lentz would be an awesome fight on a Bellator card, but I feel like it doesn't really hold up. And then Duquesnoy has got a fight, but again, I think the top 3 fights are your real fights, and I think the Verdum versus Lewis fight is the really exciting one. I think El Kukui. I take that back because I love to watch El Kukui, but I think he's going to absolutely destroy Kevin Lee, which is a shame because I think Kevin Lee is better than probably 93% of the rest of the division, but I don't think he's anywhere close to the guys that are in the top 4 of the lightweight division. I don't think Kevin Lee could beat Conor. I don't think he could beat El Kukui. I don't think he could beat Khabib. I don't think he could beat Eddie Alvarez. I don't think he can beat any of those guys. So, he's number 6 or whatever for a reason. Anyway, that's it for me. You got anything else you want to throw in, Byron?
I'm looking at my notes. I think that's it. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Are we under 3 hours again?
Yeah, we might even be under 2 hours at this point. I don't know.
I like it.
I'm gonna go out and enjoy some New Orleans nightlife because I don't have to be at work until like 9 or 10 tomorrow. I'm
jealous. It's been a while since I was down there. I'm jealous when you showed a picture of the butcher sign.
Yeah, like when I say New Orleans nightlife, it means I'm going to go downstairs to the hotel bar, have one drink, come upstairs and pass out. Like I go to bed. I go to bed so early. I'm such a little child now.
Oh, and you're working.
Well, yeah, you work 12, 13-hour days and then drive all over the country and fly all over the country. It does it to you. These Brussels sprouts are great too.
Oh, I have Brussels sprouts in my fridge. I might cook those up right now. I'm hungry.
You don't have Brussels sprouts from Butcher with this like balsamic glaze drizzle and like a little bit of spicy cayenne pepper or something? Great.
I wonder if I can seamless some actual cooked Brussels sprouts right now.
All right, folks. So hopefully we'll get together Friday next week. Hopefully we'll have Casey back. Maybe we can round up another guest. If there's anybody listening that wants to be on the show, call us, Evilies. Hit us in the DM. Come on the show, Evie. If there's anybody who wants to be on the show or any big wigs at Lucha Underground that have some great news that they want to announce, don't come on the show with bad news, though.
No bad news.
No bad news. No news either. I think our viewers would kill us because I think they think if we have a big guest that they're going to hear the thing that they want to hear the most. And that thing is not ready to be said yet. So
should we try to get Evie Dub on to talk UFC?
That would just really, really, really pretty much ensure that no one would ever watch our show again, I think.
That's almost what we did last time.
Well, I brought Evie Dub on last time to talk about them hitting 100 episodes.
Yeah.
That was the sole reason. And he actually chose to address Sexy Star issue. And then we asked him what was up with season 4, and he obliged. He did not have to answer.
Yeah. I can't wait.
I really just wanted to celebrate the 100th episode thing. So, that was his choice. And the same with DJ last week. DJ was here to talk about the match that we've all thought for 14 months was the most awesome match in the world, was that Hell of War match. So I apologize to all you viewers. We weren't trying to swerve you. These were moments that we had always planned to talk to some of the big wigs about other things that were awesome. It just so happens to be that there are still these lingering questions that everyone has, but those guys don't even have the answers right now.
Let's talk about Ultima Lucha. We got 2 more weeks of awesome.
2 more weeks. 2 more weeks of Ultima Lucha awesomeness. So let's gird up our loins, strap in for the ride. There's still some more great matches. There's another great match next week, and there's definitely a great match the very last episode. That I can tell you without being spoilery because it's just true. So until next time, stay calm and stay in the mix.